I'm e.greengrass, and this is part 2 of a brief introduction and overview of the platforms, online platforms and collaborative tools that we'll be using throughout the Aura program. So in a moment I'm going to talk in more detail about the Aura partner site, the Aura Wiki and the Aura blog site, and Aura Twitter, which I'll mention briefly at the end. I'm using Jing, which only gives us 5 minutes each time, so if I find that I'm running out of time, I may finish this overview in a third film. So we'll see how we get on. So the Aura partner site is a site on SharePoint, which is part of the Microsoft Office 365 suite. And I'm just going to go there now. I'm hoping that you can see this. I think you can manipulate your screen to get more of my screen, so we'll just see how it goes. So this is the Office 365 partner site, and you would access it from here, which is the kind of Office 365 launch screen. I don't know if that's the right terminology for it, but that's how I think of it. And here it is down here. And that takes you to this Aura Partners homepage. At the moment this features a news feed, which I'll come to, and the main thing I want to point you in the direction of are these folders which are running down the right hand side. This is where we are sharing, and we're proposing, this is a space where you can share your files and documents, spreadsheets, PowerPoints, resources for us to use as a group. And I mentioned earlier that this is a closed group. It's by membership only, and at the moment we've invited all of you as project coordinators and the Aura project team, which comprises of the IDS staff, Itoka staff, and our Loughborough consortium member, all working on Aura. So this is a group that's closed for us. It's not at all public facing. There are a couple of things that I want to draw your attention to. This photo up here, it's actually of Valentina because I'm logged in as Valentina at the moment. Just to say that there is a feature where you can add a photo. It's actually a really good practice and nice thing to do because it means that we can see who each other are. And I think there's also a profile feature as well where you can add a bit of brief information about yourself. But we will cover that in more detail in our session on the Aura partner site. At the moment there's a news feed here. We will be adding two new features quite soon. One will be a shared calendar which will appear on this homepage, and the other that we're investigating is a discussion feature which will allow us to have discussions on this site. Discussions are different from the news feed. The news feed, you'll see there are a few messages here, and in fact I can see one of you has replied and there's a little bit of a discussion going on here, but the news feed is we're proposing we'll use for much kind of in future for much kind of shorter items. So for example, I'm about to be away from the office. I might well just put a little note here so you can all see that I'm away from the office and the dates that I'm away. So something like that that kind of flashes up, news announcement type thing. I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say about the Aura SharePoint site. So I'm going to move on now to talk about our Wiki. Our Wiki site, which is a very different kind of platform because it will in time be an externally facing public facing site. So this is the kind of space where we would do different sort of work. It's still a space where we can have content sharing. It's going to be a very collaborative space, and it's a space in which we can do co-construction of our work, in particular our teaching and learning framework, and it allows us to involve a wider group of stakeholders in this process. I'm about to run out of time quite soon, so I will come back to you very shortly in the third film, but just to point you in the direction of the New Horizon report, this is a really good example of a very successful wiki which has been going for some time and culminates in the publication of a report which is developed in a very co-constructed way. I can spend a lot more detail on this when we have our session.